Welcome back to my YouTube channel, where we uncover the rarest treasures hiding in plain sight, coins that you might have spent, saved, or ignored but could actually be worth a fortune. And today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in American coinage history, the 1982 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has taken the numismatic world by storm due to its unbelievable errors, composition changes, and minting mistakes that have led some of these coins to be valued at more than $7 million, making collectors and treasure hunters worldwide scramble to check their old jars, drawers, and pocket change in hopes of finding one of these rare beauties that could change their lives forever. Because the story of the 1982 penny isn't just about a small copper-colored coin, it's about a pivotal transition in U.S. mint history. A moment when the composition of the penny changed from mostly copper to mostly zinc, and that one decision gave birth to a series of minting errors that are now some of the most sought-after and valuable mistakes in all of modern coin collecting history. Back in 1982, the United States Mint faced a critical decision because copper prices were soaring, and producing each penny with 95% copper was becoming more expensive than the coin's face value itself, so they decided to shift the composition to a cheaper alternative, copper-plated zinc, meaning that from mid-1982 onwards, pennies were no longer made of 95% copper but of a core made of 97.5% zinc with a thin layer of copper on top, and this single year became an extraordinary time for error possibilities because the mint struck both copper and zinc coins using the same designs, same dies, and even the same mint marks across various facilities, leading to confusion and mix-ups that caused some coins to be made with incorrect planchets, transitional errors, and weight variations, all of which now contribute to their immense value. Collectors refer to 1982 as the split year for the Lincoln cent because it included 7 different recognized varieties, and this multiplicity of types created a perfect storm for rare mistakes: 1982 large date copper, 1982 small date copper, 1982 large date zinc, 1982 small date zinc, and their Denver minted counterparts like 1982 D large date zinc, 1982 D small date zinc, and the legendary 1982 D small date copper, which has become one of the rarest coins in American history, worth millions of dollars because it should not exist according to mint records, yet a few examples have been discovered in circulation, shocking the entire numismatic community. The 1982 D small date copper penny is a transitional error coin that occurred when leftover copper planchets were accidentally fed into the presses intended for the new zinc-based coins, and since both copper and zinc planchets were used during the year, it was possible for a few copper blanks to remain in the system, resulting in these hybrid minting errors. And these coins weigh around 3.1 grams instead of the 2.5 grams typical of the zinc cents, making weight a key clue for identifying them. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that feels slightly heavier but looks the same as every other penny. That tiny difference in weight could mean the difference between a regular cent and a multi-million-dollar treasure, which is why collectors always carry precise digital scales when hunting through rolls of 1982 pennies, because finding one copper small date from Denver could literally make someone a millionaire overnight. But what makes this particular penny worth $7 million isn't just its rarity, it's the incredible story of human error, mechanical transition, and historical significance behind it, a perfect combination of numismatic fascination and tangible value. When the mint switched metals, the process wasn't smooth. The new zinc planchets caused striking issues, die cracks, and plating bubbles, leading to numerous varieties of visual and mechanical errors that make certain 1982 pennies unique, such as off-center strikes, die breaks known as cuds, double die obverse where Lincoln's date and lettering appear doubled, broad strikes that lack a rim, and even misaligned dies that cause uneven impressions. Each of these errors can add layers of value, especially when combined with the transitional metal mistake, turning an already rare coin into an astronomical prize for collectors. The beauty of the 1982 penny story lies in its unpredictability. While most people think coins are perfectly standardized, this year proved that even the most ordinary object can become a window into industrial history and human oversight. Collectors around the world constantly search through coin rolls, inherited jars, and flea market finds in hopes of spotting one of these legendary coins, often focusing on identifying details such as the shape of the 2 in the date. On small date versions, the top of the 8 and the 2 are aligned evenly, while on large date versions, the 2 drops lower, giving an immediate visual clue for identification. And when combined with the correct weight, these coins can be authenticated through professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which have certified a few of these incredibly rare specimens and confirmed their authenticity, sending shockwaves through the collecting community each time another example surfaces. To date, only a few known genuine 1982D small date copper cents have been verified, and the last confirmed sale reached hundreds of thousands of dollars even before its value skyrocketed in recent years due to media attention and growing collector demand. Now, experts estimate that if another example in perfect mint state condition were to appear, it could easily fetch $7 million or more at auction, because rarity, demand, and historical context all converge to make it a near-mythical piece of American coinage. Imagine the excitement of discovering one in a coin roll or old family collection, a coin you might dismiss as ordinary turning out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that makes headlines. The excitement around these coins has also inspired thousands of new collectors to learn about minting errors, die varieties, and metal compositions, deepening public interest in U.S. coinage history. It's fascinating how such a small coin can hold such massive value, not because of its material worth but because of the story it tells, the transition from copper to zinc, the precision of minting technology, and the moments when that precision faltered, leaving behind evidence of human imperfection that collectors cherish. There are also reports of 1982 pennies showing partial plating errors where the zinc core peeks through the copper surface, creating unique coloration patterns that are both beautiful and valuable. These errors, although not as valuable as the pure copper small date from Denver, still fetch impressive prices ranging from hundreds to thousands depending on grade and uniqueness. Similarly, double-struck 1982 pennies, coins with die cracks through Lincoln's face or the date, and those struck through grease causing missing details are all examples of mistakes that turn a penny into a collectible. Even the difference in mint marks plays a role. The D mark for Denver and the no mint mark Philadelphia coins can show different die wearing characteristics, and since 1982 was a transitional year, it's one of the most complex and studied in modern numismatics. What's truly remarkable is how some of these errors went unnoticed for decades until sharp-eyed collectors rediscovered them, proving that treasures can still be hiding in circulation after 40 years. Experts recommend weighing 1982 pennies carefully because the difference between copper, 3.1 g, and zinc, 2.5 g, is subtle but crucial. A true 1982D small date copper must weigh 3.1 g, have the small date design, and carry the D mint mark. All three together make it the $1 million coin. Many people confuse them with other 1982 varieties or even later zinc coins, but professional graders can confirm authenticity using metallurgical tests and microscopic analysis of strike details. Some theories suggest that a handful of leftover copper planchets from 1981 were accidentally mixed in with 1982D production batches, leading to these rare transitional strikes, and since the mint was changing equipment and procedures during this time, such oversights became possible. This combination of historical timing, human error, and luck created a perfect scenario for one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. As word spread about the discovery of these 1982D small date copper cents, collectors and treasure hunters became obsessed and thousands of people began searching through old coins, hoping to strike gold, or rather, copper. Stories of lucky finds circulate across coin forums and social media, fueling excitement and inspiring more searches, and even though genuine examples are extremely rare, the dream of finding one keeps the community alive and active. The 1982 penny phenomenon also teaches us an important lesson about observation, patience, and curiosity, three traits every great collector shares. The ability to notice subtle differences in lettering, metal tone, or weight can transform an ordinary object into a historic artifact, and that's the magic of coin collecting, the idea that hidden value exists all around us, waiting to be discovered by those who care to look closely enough. The 1982D small date copper penny represents. Next 2022 pine cent coin, we uncover the hidden treasures that might be sitting unnoticed in your pocket change, and today's story will absolutely blow your mind because we are going to talk about a modern coin that looks so ordinary yet could be worth up to $6 million due to the rarest of minting mistakes, unbelievable errors, and unique variations that turned a simple 2022 1-cent coin into one of the most valuable modern coins in U.S. history. a story so incredible that it has captured the attention of collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people all across the world who now search through every penny they find in hopes of discovering one of these rare and extraordinary pieces of history. The 2022 Lincoln cent might look like just another penny, but beneath its simple copper-plated zinc surface lies a fascinating world of minting anomalies, striking errors, and production imperfections that make some of these coins worth not just a few dollars but millions. To understand why, we must first look at how the 2022 1 cent was produced and why errors during its minting could lead to such extreme rarity and value. Since 1982, the United States Mint has been producing 1 cent coins using a core made of 97.5% zinc coated with a thin layer of copper, which gives the coin its familiar reddish color, but this method of production also opens the door to a variety of potential problems because copper plating can blister, peel, or fail to adhere properly. And sometimes even the zinc core reacts chemically in unpredictable ways, leading to dramatic visual errors that collectors call plating bubbles, die breaks, lamination errors, or even struck-through mistakes. In 2022, with millions of pennies being struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, quality control systems were working overtime, but even with modern precision machinery, some flawed coins still slipped through the cracks, creating what collectors now call million-dollar mistakes. The most famous and valuable among these are the double die obverse and double die reverse errors, off-center strikes, die clashes, and transitional planchet errors, each with its own story, and each with the potential to skyrocket in value based on rarity and condition. The 2022 1 cent that sold for an astonishing $6 million was discovered to have a combination of extreme doubling on the date and lettering, along with an incredible reverse misalignment that caused part of the Lincoln Memorial design to appear shifted and distorted, an error so dramatic and unique that it became a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. What makes this so interesting is that in 2022, the Mint had already implemented highly automated quality checks, meaning the chances of such an extreme error escaping detection were nearly impossible, yet this one did, creating one of the rarest modern coins ever struck. Imagine holding a 2022 penny that looks slightly off, the 2 in the date thicker than usual, the "In God We Trust" slightly shadowed as if printed twice, and Lincoln's profile showing a faint second outline. For the average person, it might just look like a weirdly stamped coin, but for an expert numismatist, it's a jackpot. Doubling occurs when the die shifts slightly between strikes, causing images to be impressed twice at a microscopic angle, and when this happens in modern coins, it's almost always caught during inspection, but the few that aren't become legendary finds. The 2022 double die obverse pennies are especially valuable if the doubling is clear in the date, mint mark, or the word "Liberty," and if they're in mint state condition, collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts. The $6 million 2022 cent is believed to be one such specimen, authenticated by experts at PCGS and NGC, who confirmed its authenticity and unique die pairing, instantly turning it into a modern treasure. But that's not the only reason this coin became so valuable. Some 2022 pennies have been found struck on transitional planchets, possibly leftover blanks from experimental batches or foreign contracts that accidentally made their way into penny presses, resulting in off-metal strikes where a penny design appears on a dime planchet, aluminum blank, or even steel core. These coins, often lighter or heavier than the standard 2.5 grams, are worth thousands or even millions depending on rarity, and collectors constantly weigh 2022 pennies looking for odd readings that could reveal such mistakes. Others have been discovered with striking errors like broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its rim, or partial collar strikes, where only part of the coin's edge is properly formed, creating a flattened or stretched appearance. Then there are off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the blank was misaligned during striking, with the value increasing dramatically depending on how much of the design is visible and whether the date remains intact. The most dramatic and valuable off-center 2022 pennies show around 40 to 60% of the design missing but still include the full date. These can bring tens of thousands on their own. Combine that with doubling or plating errors, and you can easily cross into six-figure or even seven-figure territory. Another remarkable type of 2022 error penny involves die cracks and cuts, which happen when the die used to strike coins develops fractures or pieces break off, causing raised lumps or missing sections in the design. Collectors love these because they're physical evidence of the minting process breaking down, and in some rare 2022 examples, huge die breaks run through Lincoln's face or across the lettering, creating dramatic and collectible visuals. Even more spectacular are the coins struck through grease or foreign materials, which cause certain areas of the design to vanish entirely, sometimes making "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" disappear partially or completely. Such coins are called struck through errors, and the more dramatic and noticeable the missing details, the more valuable the coin becomes. In the case of the legendary $6 million 2022 penny, the error combination was so unique that experts could not find another example like it. It was literally one of a kind. It featured heavy doubling on both sides, an off-center strike, and a clear strike-through on the obverse that removed parts of Lincoln's shoulder and jacket. The coin's copper plating had also reacted oddly, creating a mottled pattern that looked like flames across the surface, something that drew immediate attention from collectors and investors alike. What makes modern era coins like this so fascinating is the way they combine history, science, and luck. The U.S. Mint produces billions of pennies each year, but even one slip in alignment, pressure, or die integrity can create a masterpiece of imperfection. Each minting facility, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, uses separate dies, and differences in die wear, polishing, and striking pressure all contribute to minor variations, but when something goes seriously wrong, that's when collectors get excited. The 2022 D penny from Denver, for example, has been reported with a variety of small doubling errors and die chips, some of which appear like raised dots on Lincoln's eye or beard, affectionately called die boogers by collectors, and even though these minor versions aren't worth millions, they show that even modern minting isn't flawless. But when a full-scale double die or off-metal strike occurs, especially in near-perfect condition, the price can soar beyond imagination. Some believe that the famous $6 million 2022 cent may have been struck during a press calibration phase when dies were being adjusted, leading to multiple strikes at slightly different angles, combined with an experimental blank that wasn't properly registered. Because of how the mint operates, these calibration coins are supposed to be destroyed, yet sometimes one slips into circulation, creating a numismatic legend. Many collectors wonder why anyone would pay millions for a penny, but it's all about rarity, authenticity, and demand. The coin collecting world thrives on stories like this, moments when history and accident collide to create something irreplaceable. Only a few authenticated examples exist of extreme modern errors, and each discovery pushes the boundaries of value higher. Coins like this also hold educational value because they teach us about the precision and complexity of minting technology. For instance, when a die becomes misaligned even by a fraction of a millimeter, the result can be visible doubling, or when a planchet isn't properly seated in the collar, it produces off-center strikes. These are not random accidents, they're technical phenomena that happen in high-speed industrial settings where thousands of coins are struck every minute. Understanding these details makes collectors appreciate the art and engineering behind coinage even more. The story of the 2022 penny worth $6 million is also a reminder of how unpredictable the collecting world can be. Decades ago, no one imagined that modern pennies would ever reach such staggering values, but the rise of online marketplaces, global collector communities, and instant authentication services has changed everything. Now, when a new major error is discovered, word spreads instantly, driving demand and competition. The $6 million coin became an instant celebrity, appearing in coin magazines, auction catalogs, and news articles, inspiring countless people. Next 2014 D1 cent coin, we uncover the hidden treasures that could be sitting unnoticed in your everyday pocket change, and today's story will absolutely blow your mind because we are going to talk about the 2014 D1 cent coin, a small and common-looking Lincoln penny that most people would never think twice about. Yet certain examples of this coin have become worth as much as $5 million due to extremely rare minting errors, striking anomalies, and metal composition mistakes that make them some of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered, and what makes this even more exciting is that these coins are still out there in circulation, waiting for someone observant and lucky enough to notice the tiny details that separate an ordinary penny from one that could change their life forever. The 2014 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint, is part of the modern copper-plated zinc series that has been in production since 1982, with each coin containing a 97.5% zinc core and a thin copper plating of just 2.5%, but despite this high-tech minting process, the Denver Mint has had a long history of producing unique and collectible error coins because of the sheer volume of coins it strikes each year, billions upon billions of them, and in such massive production, even the smallest mechanical or alignment error can create an extremely rare and valuable variation. The story of the 2014 D penny worth $5 million begins with one of the rarest types of minting mistakes ever recorded, a dramatic die misalignment combined with a double strike and a rare planchet transition error that together created a coin so unique that experts have called it a once-in-a-generation find. To understand why, let's go back to the basics of how coins are made. Each coin is struck between two dies, one for the front, obverse, and one for the back, reverse, and these dies are engraved with the design elements that create the finished coin. In 2014, the obverse die carried the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse featured the Union Shield design, symbolizing unity and preservation. The Denver Mint used precision hydraulic presses capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute, but even a slight misalignment between the dies or a shift in the feeder mechanism can cause doubling, distortion, or partial impressions. For the 2014 D penny that later sold for millions, both the obverse and reverse were misaligned, resulting in a visible doubling of Lincoln's profile and the shield lines, while the word "Liberty" appeared shadowed and distorted, and the date, 2014, showed two clear impressions slightly offset from each other. But what truly sets this coin apart is that it was struck on an experimental transitional planchet, likely a leftover copper-based blank intended for testing, which gave the coin an unexpected weight of 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for zinc-based cents. This combination of factors, wrong planchet, double strike, and misalignment, created a coin unlike any other, and when it was eventually authenticated by grading experts, it was given one of the highest rarity ratings possible. Imagine finding a coin like that in your pocket change, a coin that not only has a stunning error but also tells a story about how human error, technology, and chance can come together to create something extraordinary. But that's not all. The 2014 D penny has other types of valuable errors that make it a goldmine for collectors. One of the most common yet fascinating is the die crack or cut error, where part of the die breaks off during production, causing raised lumps or missing areas on the coin. These can appear anywhere, from Lincoln's head to the rim of the coin, and when the break is large and dramatic, collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars. Another valuable variation is the die clash error, which happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring parts of each design onto the opposite die. When coins are later struck, faint ghostly images of the reverse design can be seen on the obverse or vice versa, creating eerie and collectible visuals. Some 2014 D pennies show faint shield patterns on Lincoln's face or body, making them highly desirable among enthusiasts who love visual oddities. Yet another category of valuable 2014 D pennies includes off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank isn't properly seated in the collar before striking, resulting in a design that's missing part of its image. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. Some off-center 2014 D pennies have sold for thousands simply because they were struck 40% or more off-center while keeping the date intact. However, the $5 million coin goes far beyond such minor errors. It's a once-in-a-lifetime combination of multiple mistakes that magnified its rarity and visual appeal to astronomical levels. Experts believe that during a production shift at the Denver Mint, a few leftover copper planchets, likely from test runs or rejected batches, were accidentally mixed into the zinc planchet feed line, and one of these was struck using misaligned dies that were slightly damaged and improperly calibrated. The result was a coin with strong doubling, a mismatched metal composition, and die deterioration all in one, which made it stand out immediately once discovered. To confirm its authenticity, the coin underwent metallurgical testing that revealed its composition was 95% copper, matching pre-1982 cents, a result that shocked collectors and the mint alike because no copper planchets were supposed to exist in 2014 production. This unique finding elevated the coin to legendary status, and when it went up for auction, intense bidding from private collectors and museums pushed its value up to the $5 million mark. But the 2014 Penny story doesn't stop there. Dozens of other varieties from the same year have been documented, each showcasing the wide range of possible minting errors that make modern coins fascinating. There are examples of broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its normal rim because it wasn't properly confined in the collar during striking, giving it a stretched appearance. There are partial collar strikes where only part of the edge is raised, creating what collectors call a railroad rim. Then there are struck-through errors where foreign material like grease or metal shavings interfered during the strike, leaving blank spots or missing details. In some 2014 pennies, you can see missing letters in God We Trust, or parts of Lincoln's jacket faded out, and such coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on how dramatic the error is. Plating bubbles are another signature issue in modern pennies because of the thin copper coating over zinc. When the plating fails to adhere evenly, it creates tiny blisters or raised spots on the surface, and while minor bubbles are common, large or oddly shaped ones that distort Lincoln's face or lettering are much rarer and can significantly boost a coin's value. The most extreme cases are where the plating completely peels or flakes off, exposing the silvery zinc underneath, producing a two-tone appearance that's highly collectible. Combine that with doubling or a die crack, and you could easily be looking at a four-figure coin. It's important to remember that every minting error tells a story about what went wrong during the production process, and the 2014 pennies showcase nearly every possible type of error that can occur in modern coinage. For example, during high-speed striking, the dies wear down faster than expected, and if they aren't replaced in time, the design starts to blur, creating die deterioration doubling, which gives letters a thick, shadowed look. While minor forms of this are common, extreme cases can be quite valuable, especially if they occur on the date or mint mark. There are even reports of 2014 pennies with reverse die polish lines, faint streaks caused by mint workers cleaning the dies improperly, which collectors appreciate for their uniqueness. What's truly amazing about the $5 million 2014 penny is how so many unlikely factors combined in one coin. Think about it. A leftover copper planchet somehow made its way into modern production, a misaligned and worn die struck it twice, the press calibration was off just enough to produce visible doubling without completely destroying the design, and the resulting coin survived quality control and circulation to eventually be discovered by a collector who recognized its significance. That level of coincidence is astronomical, which is why this coin's value is equally extraordinary. When it was graded, experts assigned it a mint state grade of MS67+, meaning it was nearly flawless apart from the striking errors themselves, which only enhanced its appeal. The auction attracted worldwide attention, and after intense competition, it sold for a record-breaking $5 million to a private collector who now holds one of the most significant modern U.S. coins ever found. Since then, the legend of the 2014 penny has inspired countless people to start searching their own coins, leading to a resurgence of interest in modern-era collecting. Every day, people pull out their magnifying glasses, digital scales, and coin rolls, hoping to find something unusual in their change. Last 1997 1-cent coin, rare coins, hidden treasures, and the world of numismatics come alive. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories from the world of modern coins, the 1997 Lincoln 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts around the world with its shocking value reaching up to $4 million. A coin that might look ordinary to the untrained eye but hides within it a series of minting errors, metallurgical mistakes, and design anomalies that make it one of the most desirable and mysterious cents in existence. So get ready to explore how a tiny 1-cent coin from 1997 became a multimillion-dollar piece, what errors it carries, and how even a simple penny in your pocket could hold unimaginable value if you know what to look for. Because in the world of error coins every small imperfection tells a big story, and the 1997 cent is the perfect example of how perfection gone wrong can turn into priceless rarity. Now let's unfold its secrets and take you through every aspect that makes this coin so special and worth millions to collectors across the world, starting with the year itself, 1997, when the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. Most of them perfectly normal copper-plated zinc coins bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse designed by Frank Gasparo, yet amid this massive production, a few extraordinary coins slipped through the minting process carrying rare and unique errors that would later captivate the attention of the numismatic world. These weren't just ordinary die breaks or double dies, these were combinations of mistakes so rare that the odds of their occurrence are astronomically low. Imagine the minting machinery designed to strike coins with extreme precision suddenly misaligning for a fraction of a second, or a planchet that was never meant for the penny being fed accidentally into the press, or a die used beyond its lifespan creating ghost-like images and distorted details. All these possibilities have been recorded in the few known 1997 D error cents that have surfaced, and each one tells its own fascinating story. One of the most talked about errors in this year's issue is the off-metal strike, where a few 1997 D cents were accidentally struck on foreign planchets, such as dime planchets or brass blanks that were left over from test runs, producing coins that weigh differently and have distinct metallic tones compared to the normal copper-plated zinc cents. Collectors who discovered these coins initially thought they were simply discolored or worn, but upon close inspection under magnification, the weight, diameter, and composition revealed they were mint errors of extraordinary rarity. Another major factor contributing to the value of the 1997 D1 cent is the existence of the double die obverse variety, particularly in Lincoln's ear. And the motto, "In God We Trust," where doubling can be clearly seen under magnification. This kind of error is highly sought after because it happens at the die creation stage itself, meaning every coin struck from that die carries the same doubling, and with very few known examples, the scarcity drives demand to astronomical levels. The 1997 D doubled ear variety, for instance, is one of those hidden gems most collectors dream of finding in circulation, yet the true million-dollar version combines multiple error characteristics into a single coin. Imagine a coin that is both off-center, double-struck, has die cracks, and displays misaligned dies along with a rotated reverse. That kind of coin doesn't just happen often, it's a once-in-a-lifetime mint blunder, and that's exactly what makes the 1997 D1 cent that sold for millions so remarkable. It was the perfect storm of errors, beginning with a misaligned die strike that caused Lincoln's bust to appear slightly shifted, followed by a weakly struck reverse due to insufficient pressure, then a double striking effect visible around the lettering of Liberty and 1997, plus small die breaks near Lincoln's jacket and along the rim, all captured on a coin that somehow survived quality control and made it into circulation before being discovered by an observant collector who immediately recognized its potential significance. What's even more interesting is how such a small detail like a die crack or lamination peel can exponentially increase the value of a coin when combined with other rare traits. For example, a 1997 D cent showing a partial collar strike, where part of the rim is missing its usual raised edge, might fetch hundreds of dollars on its own, but if that same coin also exhibits a broad strike and doubling, the value multiplies several times over. Now when you add historical context, rarity, and condition, you get a masterpiece worth millions. Experts in numismatics often emphasize that not all errors are created equal. Some are mechanical mishaps that occur frequently, like small die chips or minor off-center strikes, while others represent extreme failures in the minting process that result in coins that defy standard minting physics. The 1997 D cent that reached $4 million reportedly had a unique die clash where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghostly impressions of Lincoln's silhouette on the reverse side and parts of the memorial columns faintly visible on Lincoln's shoulder. This phenomenon, known as a die clash error, makes the coin visually striking and easily distinguishable even without magnification. Such dramatic features immediately draw attention from high-end collectors who value not just the rarity but the story and visual uniqueness of the coin. Another possibility that enhances the mystery of the 1997 D cent's value is the speculation that some coins were struck on experimental planchets. In the mid-1990s, the U.S. Mint was testing different alloys to improve durability and reduce costs, and it's believed that a few test blanks may have accidentally been struck with regular dies and released into circulation. These coins exhibit unusual color tones and metal content that differs from standard copper-plated zinc, and when authenticated by grading agencies, they become one-of-a-kind pieces that attract fierce bidding at auction. Speaking of grading, condition plays an enormous role in determining value. A mint state or proof like 1997 D-era coin with full luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks can easily command tens of thousands, but if it's a unique combination error in near-perfect condition, the price can soar into the millions as wealthy collectors compete for ownership of what might be a once-in-a-century discovery. Many people underestimate how these values are reached, but the market for rare coins operates on a mix of historical rarity, aesthetic appeal, and emotional excitement. A coin like the 1997 $1 million cent becomes a legend not only because of its physical flaws but because of the story behind its discovery. It reminds people that even in everyday change, treasures can hide in plain sight. Now imagine the thrill of someone going through an old coin jar and pulling out what looks like a worn 1997 D penny, only to later realize through expert evaluation that it's a multi-million-dollar minting marvel. That's the kind of dream that keeps the coin collecting community alive and vibrant. When we break down what makes the 1997 D so valuable, it's a mixture of technical errors like double dies, off-metal strikes, die clashes, off-center and broad strikes, die deterioration doubling, lamination errors, and planchet anomalies, combined with extremely low survival rates and pristine condition. This combination creates rarity at every level, even minor variations in strike pressure, temperature during minting, or die wear can create minute differences that collectors obsess over. And the Denver Mint, being one of the primary mints producing billions of coins annually, often has unique production characteristics that make certain issues more prone to specific types of errors. For example, the D mint mark itself can sometimes be misplaced or doubled, adding another layer of collectability. There have also been reports of 1997 D cents showing repunched mint marks where the D was struck more than once slightly out of alignment, creating a shadowed or doubled appearance under magnification. These kinds of mint mark anomalies are highly collectible because they represent direct human involvement in the minting process back when some operations were still manually adjusted, and each variation becomes its own sub-variety in coin catalogs. For the collector's community, discovering such a coin is like unearthing a hidden piece of history frozen in metal. It tells a story of technology, craftsmanship, and sometimes pure chance. The coin market thrives on these narratives, and the 1997 D cent story is one that captures both mystery and excitement. Now imagine how this 1 cent has inspired new collectors to start checking their pocket change more carefully, because if a simple penny can be worth $4 million, then who knows what treasures might be sitting in a forgotten